So there's just waiting for one more person who is currently joining. Just as a little extra within today, if you have them handy, you could do with one of your closed loop resistance bands. If you don't have one of these, but you have a regular resistance band, then you could use that. And if you don't have either, don't panic, body weight will still work to do the exercises. So if you have a loop or a full band, that's really handy. And then the other thing, if you happen to have one, is a ball. Could be a tennis ball, it could be like a dog toy. I know loads of you have dogs as well. If you don't have a ball, again, don't panic. I'm going to show you, and it'll just be like a 2-minute release with a ball. And I'll show you how to do it. But yeah, don't panic if you don't have one. You can also do the same thing using a foam roller. So if you don't have a ball, but you do have a foam roller somewhere, you could use that. Yes. I was trying to think of what other everyday objects it would work with. I think it would work with like a tin of beans, but don't know if we're going to put it under our bum. So it's just whether or not you think the power of your arse will try and dent beans, but it should still work. But yeah, so if you don't have one, don't panic. I'm going to show you something a bit weird that you can do with your hand instead of a ball on your bum. Yeah. Some of you will have done it with me in class, actually. It's one of my favorites. So I think we're on middle splits. Yes, well done, Kat. You've got everything. I think we're on middle splits, so I'm hoping that's right, because that's what we're going to do. If not, oh dear. It was really straightforward when I knew, like, Fridays are middles, Mondays are this, Tuesday, where now I'm like, what day is it? Where am I meant to be? What am I doing with my life? Right, so we've got our random stuff, yes, somewhere to hand. Stand yourselves up. Get warm. Still going to be too really light. Because it was so dark outside, I could get away with it. But no. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, blocks. Again, don't panic if you don't have them, but if you do have some handy, grab those. On that note as well, 2 things. Number 1, we have an absolute shit ton of blocks in the studio that were for sale that are £1 each. So if anybody needs any blocks, drop me a message and I can post them out to you. Or you can wait. When we get back into the studio, one of the things that we've been advised is to ask you to bring as much of your own equipment as possible to help with sanitizing. So I think in stretch classes, I will be asking people to bring their own blocks. So if you don't have blocks at present, as I said, we've got loads in the studio that were like £1 that you could buy when you come in to then use. But if you still need some right now, send me a message and I will get those posted to you. Yeah, I think that's all my waffle. Right, stand up. And we're just going to start bouncing the hips side to side. So we're just going to take nice big deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And then we're going to turn these hip bounces into circles. And we're going to change direction. I don't know how many of you did Harriet's class last night, but I think she covered bum, didn't she? So hopefully if you did it, your bum isn't on fire too much, because we need it to work for these middles today. Okay, so toes are out, knees are pointing over the toes. Big breath in. Breathe in, breathe out. Exaggerate that breathing. Not only does it help us to get in the zone and relax, it actually warms us up really nicely and gets loads of oxygen into the muscles, which is what we want if we want them long. One more. Good, and then we're just going to take head side to side. And then we're going to look over the shoulders. And then we're just going to roll. Oh, I forgot to mute you. I think you've all muted yourselves. I'll just check. Oh, yeah, good. So just remember, if you want to shout anything at me, just unmute yourself. Go ahead and holler. Good. And then we're going to roll those shoulders back. So big, exaggerated circles, lifting them right up, dropping them right down. And we're going to change direction. And then we're going to retract and protract the shoulders. So squeezing those shoulder blades together, pushing the chest out, rounding forwards. Good. And then we're going to slide the rib cage side to side. As you slide, you're lifting the shoulder up to the ear. And then we're going to circle. And the other way. Good. Then we're going to bring the hands onto the shoulders and we're going to pretend we're doing backstroke. Let the torso twist here, so hips are staying forwards. And now give me front crawl. That's it. And then you're going to give me butterfly. So we're basically just, if in doubt, just do circles, but you're sort of doing like a figure of 8 if you're feeling fancy, but stay touching the shoulders. Good, and then just for the sake of evenness, we're going to breaststroke in front. So that was circling those elbows, tucking them in, pushing forwards. Now breaststroke to the ceiling. Good, now pinch those shoulder blades a bit more. So instead of letting the breaststroke arms come in front of us here, they should be pinching back over here as much as possible. Pinch them back. Good, nearly done. Arms out, little circles. And the other way. And drop them. Good. So back to those hips, side to side. You can make them a little bit bigger. We're going to soften the knee. And then we're going to keep the knees fairly soft. We're going to push the bum back, tuck it under. Push it back, tuck it under. The more exaggerated, the better. Looks a bit strange. So as we tuck forwards and under, you should feel your stomach squeezing and your bum. Push back, low back should be firing nice and hard. Hips should pinch. That's it, keep going. 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going to keep the knees soft and we're going to circle again. And the other way. That's it. Now we're going to lock the legs out straight. We're going to make the circles smaller, trying to keep the ribs still. And the other way. Good, and then we're going to squeeze here. So squeezing at the side, there. You're trying to keep your heels down and you're trying to use the waist for the movement. Imagine you're Shakira. And then see if you can give me some figure of eights. So we did these last Sunday, I think, in detail. If you did that workshop. If you didn't do the workshop, just jiggle yourself about. That's it. Perfect. See if you can go a little bit quicker. Bring the feet a little bit narrower. Salsa hips, make it exaggerated. 3, 2, 1, good. Okay, so toes are pointing forwards. They're about as wide as my hips. Only go as far with this as you can without feeling like your knees collapse over your toes, okay? So I'm gonna sit my bum back and I'm gonna lean my chest forward to help counter. Sit it down, making sure my knees don't come forwards like this over my toes. Okay, ready? Give me 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to take the feet a little bit wider and we're going to turn the toes to 45 degrees. Make sure as you squat down, the knees push wide. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Take the feet wider. Full sumo squat. So we're going even lower. Even wider. Knees still over toes. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3. Really squeeze your bum. 4. To try and push the knees backwards. 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Very nice. So turn the toes so that they point forwards again. Or forwards-ish. Mine go ever so slightly out to corners because I'm more comfortable there. And we're just going to go for our Cossack squat. So side to side. If you're okay, hinge forwards. Find your fingertips on the floor. Keep those heels flat. If you're still okay, take it all the way as low as you can. If you're still okay, once you take it as low as you can, rotate so that your toe points to the ceiling. Rotate it back forwards and switch sides. Still okay, lift the hands up as you do it. Good. Then, if you can, take it over to one side and hold. See if you can lift your hands up. Use your elbow to push your knee out to the side, and same hand reaches down towards the ankle. Switch sides. So if you could, you're using your elbow to push your knee out, reaching down. If it feels too wobbly trying to hold that foot, by the way, you can reach your fingers out. We're going to switch sides again. Now, if this is too tricky to try and get down here, use your blocks and either pop them underneath your bum so that you can sit down here, or you can take the block and pop it under the heel if you have it lifted. So if you can do it, but you have to lift this heel up, you pop the block underneath it for support. Okay, one of those. And then we're just going to hold it here a little bit longer this time. Good, and then from there, you're just going to try and sit your bum down. So you could sit on the blocks if you were using them there. If you had one under the heel, just get rid of it and try and sit your bum down as much as you can. If you can stay in this type of position, great. If you can't, you can put your hands behind you, okay? So if it's too tricky from the position you're in, just sit yourself down onto the floor, one nice straight leg, and then tuck the other hip in as close to you as possible. From here, we're just gonna rock. So we're gonna try and drop that knee down. Then we're gonna push it out. When we feel like we can't go any further, that's when we're gonna use the bum muscle to push it even more. So same as when we did the rotator cuff stuff. I don't want you to go to the point of resistance and stop. I want you to try and squeeze past it. Down, squeeze. And as I said, if you're comfy, have your hands in front instead, leaning your weight as far forwards as possible. 3 more. 2, 1. Then we're going to switch sides. So an extra challenge, if you want it, is having your hands lifted and just rocking your way up. Then we switch. So to start with, we're just going to hold our stretch. So that could be block under heel, block under the bum. And we're just going to breathe in this Cossack squat. Then we're going to sit ourselves down, so I can either sit my bum onto the block, and if I had that block under the heel, get rid of it. Can keep leaning forwards if I feel comfy to, or sort of leaning over here so I'm not in the way, or I can take my hands behind if I need to. And then I'm going to drop it down, squeeze out, extra squeeze at the end. Squeeze. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good job. Okay, so we're going to take the resistance band. So if you don't have a closed loop, get your long band and tie it just above the knees, nice and tight. Okay, you don't want too much stretch in there. The amount of movement you'll get within the exercise is dictated by obviously how tough your band is. So if it's a really tight band and you're hardly moving, doesn't matter as long as you can feel it in the right muscle. And on the contrast, if you don't have any kind of band, you'll have a really exaggerated range of motion, which is fine. You just might not feel the burn quite as much. You would need more repetitions. So we're just going to do some clams to try and get the sort of outsides of the glutes working. This is the muscle in middle splits that we need really active to actually stretch us into it. People's biggest mistakes in the middle is thinking you just sit there and relax, where most of it is about the engagement of these outside sort of bum, upper thigh muscles. So I've got my feet just bent in. Band is just above the knees, and I'm just going to open and down. So I'm making sure to keep nice and engaged through both of my bum cheeks. I want you to think about that extra push again. So for me, I get to about here, and then I could stop, and it's that extra squeeze that makes the difference. So find the point of resistance. I totally forgot to count. And then push past it. 7, I'm going to say. 8, 9, and now hold them open. Little pulse. 8, 9, 10. Relax. Then we're going to switch sides. So you can just roll over if you want. I'm going to switch so I can step at you. Good job. So feet are tucked up and in, toes are together. If you are doing this without a resistance band, one way to make it slightly more difficult is just literally to rest your hand here so that you're using it to push against. Okay, ready, go. 1, and don't be surprised if one's weaker than the other. 2, this one's way worse for me. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I'm going to hold it, little pulse. relax. Good. We're just going to do one of those because there's quite a few activations I want to try. So get rid of your band for a sec. And then you're going to take yourself into half a pigeon. Maybe it's to the side actually. So I'm sat on my bum and I'm going to have my leg out at a right angle. Okay, now when we do pigeon, I always talk about the honest pigeon. Honest pigeon is when this leg goes out sort of parallel with the front of your mat, which is really tricky for some people to do. So in a traditional pigeon, we usually end up in this position with it tucked, okay? For this exercise, you need to make sure that you're more at a right angle, okay? So I am feeling like I'm sat back on this bum cheek a little bit, yeah? The other leg is also gonna go at a right angle, okay? So how can I get you to... I'm sort of in this position and then sitting down. Yeah, does that make sense? It's not PC, but I'm making like half a swastika. That's what it looks like to me. Yes? Okay. So from this position, we're just going to see if we can reach forwards and put our fingertips in front of our leg. If you can't reach there, don't panic. Okay, if you can't reach, just pop your hands wherever you feel comfortable. But if you can, great. And then from here, trying not to let everything jump up too much, we're going to lower the chest as much as we can towards the leg and lift back up. Good. So the weight will feel like it's on this leg, this front leg a lot, but make sure that knee is really grounded. And then we're going to do this one more time and we're going to hold it. So once you've got as low as you can, you're going to think about trying to roll your body weight towards that front foot. So I'm rolling that way as much as possible to try and intensify the sensation in my glute. Good. You can lie completely flat, by the way, if you were comfortable. I'm staying on my elbows because I really struggle with anything glute related. Good. And then we're going to walk the hands in so that we come up again. And now we're going to try and activate the same muscles that we would be using, hello Gizmo, in an attitude on the pole. Really? Of all the places, can you just stand over here? Would that be okay? Thank you. So you're going to squeeze bum, stay there, and you're going to be a dog having a wait. It's because he wants to demonstrate. That's literally it. He's like, I can do this one, mummy. So we lift here. Okay. The temptation is to do this. Move, dog. Is to lean right back because then it's super easy to lift. But as much as possible, lean this way, even if that means your lift is like the tiniest little lift off the ground. Okay, I'm just gonna scoot that down a bit. So we're gonna go for 8 of those little lifts. You ready? Steady. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more. And then we're gonna leave the knee down and we're gonna squeeze and lift the foot up for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to switch sides. You think the dog is a pain. The husband is worse. He's just walked in. He's like, not bad. Not bad. Right, so find that attitude shape with the legs again. So I'm wanting this front one as parallel as possible. Right angle here, right angle here, right angle here. Yeah? No, I don't look like it. If we can, fingers are in front of that leg, and we're just going to lower down, back up, keeping as flat as we can with the back. I'm going to divorce you, stop it. And then we're going to hold this one. So again, as much as possible, you're rocking the weight towards sort of the foot side, and it should intensify how it feels in the bum cheek. If you wanted to, you could lie completely flat over this front leg to make it a bit more intense. Good, and then we're gonna come back up, and then we're gonna go for those lifts with that back leg. Are you ready? Steady, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm sorry. 8, the dog is now playing with his raggy toy. 4, just be glad the kid's asleep. 6, 7, otherwise the whole friggin' family band would be getting involved, wouldn't they, Kismet? Okay, sit onto your bum, take it into a butterfly stretch for me. We're gonna hold the toes and we're gonna sit up nice and tall, and we're just gonna gently bounce those knees down. I didn't want all the screen to myself anyway. Did anybody see the video a while ago? I put it on the actual Instagram, I think, where we did box splits, where Gizmo showed all of us up and slid through the video in his perfect box splits. Just waiting for him to do that again. It's like he knows, he watches me and he's like, I can do this one. So we're gonna hold the ankles. If you can reach, you're gonna use your elbows and push down into the knees. As you circle, what I want you to focus on is what your belly button is doing. So as I come back, I'm sucking it in, I'm rounding through the spine, tucking my tailbone under. And as I come forwards, I'm pushing my chest out, pushing my belly button forwards and trying to flick my hips up at the back. So keep going. Round, bum out. Round, bum out. And as I come forwards, if I can reach, I'll use my elbows to push my knees down that little bit more. Change direction. This is as much a hip and a low back exercise as each other. Good. Okay, so we're going to go into, now how am I splitting this up? We're going to go into, I want to do a little bit of release, just like really like 2 minutes. I'll release it on the piriformis, okay? This muscle is really important in box splits for helping us sort of externally rotate the hips and open out wide. Lots of people are super, super, super tight in this. So this is where I was going to use my ball, okay? So if you have a ball, because it's quite small, it's intense. So if you notice that this muscle is actually really tight on you, don't be surprised if you struggle, okay? If you don't have a ball, I'm going to show you what to do in just 1 second, but you've got to get into a different position if you don't have a ball, and it's, as I said, a bit strange. So if I have a ball, I'm basically going to sit onto it, okay? I want it to go here. So on the side of your hip, there's a big bony bit that sticks out, which is called your greater trochanter. And if you follow that round in a straight line towards that central point of your bottom, that is where really the piriformis is going to be, okay? So I'm going to sit on the ball. I'm going to lean over slightly towards the side that I'm sat onto. If it felt okay, I can make it more intense by crossing over. So this bottom leg is the one that the ball is under, that you can see because I've absorbed it, and the other leg is crossed over. And I'm just going to roll. You can go up and down, so that we're going across the fibers, and you can go side to side, okay? If you find a spot that hurts, sit on it, wait there, okay? So keep going if you've got your ball. If you haven't got a ball, if you've got a foam roller, you do the same thing, just sat on a foam roller. If you haven't got a ball, this is where it's a bit odd, so we do this in class sometimes. You're going to take yourself into a frog. The reason for this start position is it makes it easier to access the right muscle. That's why the ball one, we have the knee sort of turned out when we do it. You're going to take your, I'm doing this on the internet, you're going to take your fist, you're going to trace that line that I said about again. So it's around here. Now this is way better when someone else does it, but you can do it on yourself. You're going to make a fist, but with your knuckles sort of stuck out like this. So I always think of that as like a gorilla fist rather than a regular fist. And then I'm going to dig my knuckles in like this. Shake it. So as I said, not as intense as a ball, but you should be able to dig right in, find any points that are really tense, and then just push in and hold. So you guys with the ball, you're going to switch sides now. Those of you doing the hand massage, keep going for another 15 seconds, and then we're going to switch sides. I hate glute massage so much. It's my worst area. So those of you doing it by hand, switch sides. If you're using the ball, or if you're doing it by hand, if you find a point that's particularly sore, hold it there. We're not doing it for very long, but traditionally you do it for 30 to 90 seconds on the sore point, and you should find that it hopefully eases. 10 more seconds. So if this sucks, if you hate this, it's a good indication that you need it in your life. Good, and come out. So as I said, you'd normally do it a lot longer. I just wanted to introduce you to it. That workshop that I promised you about a month ago, that I filmed half of and have never finished, I was writing the content for it yesterday, day before yesterday, and I did another course on myofascial release and foam rolling. So things like this will be on that workshop. That was about a month, the one that didn't work because Zoom wouldn't let us in. If you didn't book onto it, but you're interested in the workshop that's to do with all the myofascial release and stuff, just drop me a message and I will send you it when I eventually film it, which should be tomorrow. Okay, so let's go into, so some of you were already there a second ago, let's go into our frogs. So frog is this one. So I want my knees and my hip bones in line, legs are bent at right angles, feet are flexed. If you feel really uncomfortable in a frog, something that's really handy is to have pillows and to pop the pillows in front of you here, okay? When we get into frog, the best possible thing we can do to improve it is to relax the upper body. So if you can get down to here, that's great, but I still have tension through my shoulders. So the best position is actually lying completely flat, okay? So if it's uncomfortable getting completely flat and you have them available, grab, say, your foam rollers and pop them so that you can lie on top of them, or mountain of cushions until you are comfy. So my feet are flexed, what you can see. My knees and my hips are in line. Now, what we're going to try and add in is some pelvic tilts. So I'm going to tuck my tailbone under and suck my belly button into my spine, and then swap, and I'm going to flick my hips up as high as I can, really sticking my bum in the air. Round, push up. Round, push up. Don't panic if this doesn't move very much. Also don't panic if in order for it to move, you have to move the whole spine. That's fine. When you get better at it, you should then hopefully be able to isolate it to just the low back. But if everything needs to get involved, then that's fine. And then arch the back and just relax again. Okay, so we're going to come up onto the elbows. When we come up, we're still trying to keep this arch in the pelvis. So I don't want to lift everything up like this. What I want to aim for is to keep that tilt and to just lift my shoulders so that the middle is still as sunk as low as possible. Good. Then I want you to creep your elbows back just the tiniest bit. We have a tendency to creep forwards to make this more comfortable. So creep it back until you feel that little pinch in the hips. Good. And from here, we're going to take one leg at a time, and we're going to lift up. We're going to push the hip down to the floor, and then we push back again. And then the other one, push, and then back. So we're just flossing through the hips. Give me one more on each side. And then just hold again. Oh, my mum is phoning me, sorry. It's always bloody mother, isn't it? Desperate attempt to be professional. She'll be asking if I want bananas or something. Keep breathing. What you might have remembered from a while ago was me going on about the breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and trying to like breathe in for 4, but out for like 6 or 8. That's what you should be doing right now. Keep breathing. I'm guessing this isn't much fun at this point, but you're doing so well. Three, 2, 1. And seal slide your way out of that bad boy. Good job. Give yourself a little shake. Good. Okay, so that was very nice, guys. Hips should be getting loosey-loosey. Okay, so we're just going to do some of my most recent favourites, which are, ooh, my internet's going a bit strange, which are my primal squats that we've been doing in everything where they're applicable. And this is a great one. So we're going to try and get the hamstrings just a little bit warmer. We focused a lot on the hips, but I know some of you feel it in the back of the knees, most predominantly when we do middles. So that's what we're going to try and hit for the next 10 minutes. So primal squat. My toes are turned out, my knees are pushed out, my heels should be flat. I'm trying to lift my chest, and I've got a nice flat back. Okay, so I am here. For some people, this position is really natural and really easy. If that is you, fantastic. If it feels horrendous and you're more sort of like this, trying to counter it, then again, take one of your blocks and pop it under your bum, okay? Or 2 if you need to. The other option is to back it up against the wall, okay? So that you've got something to rest yourself on, okay? If you're using the wall, you might want to take your feet slightly further forwards, okay? To help you counter it. So we're using the elbows, and we're pushing the knees nice and wide, flattening the back. I actually haven't got a suitable prop, but if you do struggle with anything where the heels are flat down, so the Cossack squats that we did earlier, and this one, something they tell you to do is to have your feet on little raised up wedges. So like you could fold up a towel and put that underneath your heels so that you're resting down, and it'll help you improve your Achilles tendon flexibility. So if you struggle with this type of a position, we could put something under the heel so that we were here. Right, now from here, we're going to drop the hands down. We're going to try and keep the elbows and the knees as much in contact as possible. We're going to drop the head down, and we're just going to push the bum up. Don't have to get to straight legs. Head has dropped. Then we're going to try and sit it back down. And if you're really confident, you're lifting your hands up. Hands go back down, push. Sink it down, hands up. So that's 3. Give me another 7. Good. One more. And then we're going to bring it back down. And we're just going to hold it here. This one always makes me laugh because once I've been in it like 10 seconds, my hips just give and my ass just like droops its way back down to the floor. My bum isn't actually taking any weight though. It just droops down there. And then I want you to push up and hold in that wide-legged pike fold. Now try and let your legs go completely straight. Doesn't matter if you can reach the floor or not. If you can't reach the floor, hold onto your elbows and just let your head hang really heavy. We're going to walk the hands over towards one leg and we're going to think about popping our nose onto our knee. Going to walk over to the other side and do the same thing. We're going to come back to the middle. Let's turn to the side. And then if you can reach the floor, great. If you can't, you hold onto the shins or the thighs, wherever you're comfy. And we're going to do that little pelvic tilt again. So arching and rounding just a little bit. So this movement is pretty key to middle splits. And then flatten it. So arch the back as much as possible. Try and take your gaze sort of out in front of you. So your neck is nice and neutral. And then we're just going to sit it back down to that squat if we can. Good job. And then we're going to sit it down. Good. Okay, so we're going to take it onto the back into happy baby. So happy baby, we flex our feet, we take the knees wide and we lift the feet up. So again, we're at like right angles and we're trying to catch a hold of our heels. If you can't quite reach the heel, you can hold onto the back of the calf and pull down, but you just don't get as much of a grip. So aim for the heels if possible. Knees should be coming to the outsides of the armpits. Big deep breath in. Breathe out.
Baby.
No, I'm not having a baby, thank you. What do you want? I don't want an egg right now. Oh, you mean afterwards? Yeah, okay, fine. trying to teach class and he's coming pointing eggs at me. We're going to keep hold of one foot, we're going to let go of the other one, and we're just going to drop it down with the knee bent. I'm going to think about kicking this foot into my hand, so I'm kicking it away from me as much as possible. If it wants to go straight, great. If it doesn't, don't panic. When it straightens, it's not having to go straight up to the ceiling, it is opening slightly to the side, okay? Then, when I soften it, I'm going to try and think, without rolling over, about pushing this knee to try and touch the floor. Then I straighten it. Then I try and touch the floor. Straight. Touch the floor. I want to point out, mine doesn't touch the floor. So if yours does, awesome. If it doesn't, as long as you can feel it in the hip, don't panic. 2 more. And then we're going to lift the other foot back up. And we're going to release. So we're going to extend, push it down. Extend, push it down. Oh, this one touches. Extend. And bring the other one back up. Okay, now this looks a bit odd. You're going to creep your hands around as much as you can. You're going to look at your own crotch. Okay, from here, we're going to gently pull the legs as straight as we can. And then we soften. Keep the head and the shoulders lifted. So you sink it back down, push again. Down. Each time you relax, try and creep your hands further around your heels. And again. And then this last one, we're going to hold, and you let your neck relax onto the floor. And you let go. Drop them down. Good. Just give them a little side to side. Very nice, guys. You're doing really well. Okay, so okay, so we're going to get into our half frogs now. So half middles. So we've warmed the hamstrings up for like 10 minutes there, and we've warmed the hips up for like 30. So just something to bear in mind. It was like when we did splits, was it with me last week, where we did loads of work on the hamstring, but we didn't really do much on the hip. So we've done the opposite today. So if when you're working on these, the place you feel it most is here. So on the inside of the knee, on the straight leg, that's really normal, okay? It'll just be that your hamstring is a bit tight. Now, one thing you can do if you have that, and when I say, so if you feel it here, it's fine, shouldn't be painful, okay? Sometimes we can feel a pain down here, which is to do with the delicate knee ligaments getting pulled and sort of straining under the pressure. So if you feel a pain, then stop or modify, ease back out. If you feel a stretch sensation that's a bit uncomfortable, that's fine. Okay, the stretch sensation would feel more in like the back of the knee, where the tendon issue ligament would be more towards the front of the knee. Okay, if you did feel anything towards the front, or you're in any type of doubt, the best thing you can possibly do is keep this foot flat. So I'll show you what I mean. We're going to do the frog again, but with one extended leg. I'm going to put my knee on a block to make it a little bit more challenging, but you do not have to. The knee can go straight down onto the floor. If you're not sure, if you want to make it more challenging, there is no negative to it, okay? It just takes you higher up off the ground. It makes it easier to keep this ankle in the position that I'm going to describe, that I was describing. So I would go into a frog. And then I would extend this leg. So knee, hip, knee, and foot are all in line. And if I keep my foot like this, it protects the delicate knee sort of structures a lot better than if I'm like this. Okay, so if you do have any issue, keep the foot flat. It does obviously challenge the flexibility of the ankle joint, which is why raising this makes it better. Okay, but if you are happy, you can go to the inside of the foot. Make sure, don't do it yet, guys. Make sure your leg is really nice and straight and your thigh is engaged the whole time. Okay? Now you can do it. So, into position for me. So, the knees are in line with each other. That back foot, the bent leg, still at a right angle. And I'm just going to try and relax to start with. Leg is nice and straight. I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see my cues better. So, what I want you to think about once you are there, is trying to get that arch in the back again. So belly button is going to tilt down as much as possible. Bum is flipping up. Then you're going to imagine that you really need to fart right now. I want you to hold that fart in. By doing that, you should squeeze this muscle here underneath. Now come onto your hands. Drag your foot in just a little bit so you're not as low as you were a second ago. Don't panic if this moves or doesn't. Push through the hands and you're going to try and lift this foot off the ground. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and now slide it back out again. Relax. Good. We're going to switch sides. Very nice. So same setup. If you used a block on the first side, make sure you use one on the second. So you're tilting the pelvis up as much as possible, squeezing that bum cheek, squeezing the thigh. Then we're going to come out a little bit. And we're going to try and lift this leg for 8. Ready? Steady. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Slide it out again. And relax. Good. Well done. Open and close those hips. Okay, so it's been like 3 weeks since I did one of these with you guys, but before that, when we were doing it weekly, I had got to the point with mine where I find I stop myself psychologically, so my brain doesn't like middles anymore. Therefore, as soon as I get into a middle, I focus too much on how close I am to the floor, and I don't focus enough on how it feels within my body, where the pains are, whatever else, okay? So for me personally, I like to make my middle now easier to try and get my body to relax, so I learn to actually like the position more. And so far, it's working quite well. So that is what I'm going to do. And that is what you're going to do. If afterwards you want a progress photo of your best possible middle split, you would just do it again for a couple seconds, okay, to actually get a picture. This shouldn't be the best split you've ever done, but we're going to try and hold it for the length of time that you would hold it for a developmental stretch to get improvements. Does that make sense? So I don't want you to feel like you're dying. I want you to be able to hold it for quite a long time. We should still be improving the flexibility, but sort of improving something different to just hopping into end range and hoping for the best. So if you have blocks, grab them. Or books or whatever, I would also recommend, if you've got a pillow handy, popping that on top of whatever stack you have made so that it's actually more comfortable for you to sit on. Now I'm going to use the wall because I find it easier to make sure that I'm fairly in line. But again, you don't have to, or you could use the edge of your sofa. You don't have to, you could do it in the middle of the room. If you are using something behind you as a guide, your bottom should touch it. Your heels should be 1 inch to 2 inches away, okay, depending on the size of your bum, okay? The middle split line should be at the front across the thighs. It shouldn't be at the back, okay? If you look at a middle split from above, the back line is ever so slightly like this because your butt sticks out, okay? So if you're doing it with a wall, make sure you just pull slightly further forwards with the heels. So, into position, guys. Ready? Off we go. I'm gonna hit all my furniture. So make sure legs are nice and straight. Mine's always really deceptive. Gizmo's going to hide my dodgy knee anyway. Oh no, it's not. I have really bandy legs, so mine always look like that. That's straight. This is bent. So make sure they're nice and straight. Now, where possible, again, think about relaxing. So if you can feel that you're currently like this, hating your life, then your legs are going to hate it too. So think about arching the back as much as possible. And for future, you would have a big comfy stack of cushions in front of you to lie onto, or the sofa to lie onto, or something. So in this position, what I want you to think about, you don't have to go anywhere, but imagine you were going to lift 1 foot off the floor at a time. You would squeeze this muscle here, okay? Mine don't lift even a little bit, but I can feel the muscle fire when I try. If you can't get the right muscle to engage at all, leave your big toe where it is and try and lift your heel up, and you'll find that works the same muscle, just less intense. You're doing really well. I want another 30 seconds, then we're done. You can do it. Big deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just think about how relaxing and fun this is. Think about how good your choppers are going to look when we can eventually get back into the studio. Last 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Crawl your way forwards. We're just going to close those hips for a sec. Awesome, guys. So when I say closed hips, I like to do this. So I stick my feet together and like clamshell again. And I also like to do sweeps. So I have a straight leg, I sweep it across, I bring the toes together, I switch sides, and I repeat. It's cute and floor work as well when you're in the studio. And then this leads us very nicely into that little spinal twist. So we bring it across, we sit it up as tall as we can, and then if possible, opposite arm crosses over, and you twist that back. Good job, guys. And swap. So that arm crosses over. And then I'm not holding out any faith, because when I was doing it a couple times a week, it wasn't getting any better. So if I've not done it for 3 weeks, it's not going to have improved. We're going to finish with that little glute stretch that I suck at. That's fantastic for hip health. So even now, look, that's rubbish. So you're doing like a pigeon. bending the leg in front of you at a right angle. Your opposite leg, the foot should go onto the knee and the knee should go onto the foot. This is what mine looks like. This is how far away mine is. Don't panic. Yes, Holly, that looks amazing. Yeah, mine just sucks. It sucks so bad. So if yours sucks like me, it means that you need to practice this more and that you're a tight ass. Piriformis is, again, what we're trying to hit here, and it is one of the muscles that they say holds the most tension. So if you are stressed, so that thing we did with the ball or with your fist, never be surprised if you do it and it makes you cry. Especially women, that's where we're meant to hold our tension and emotion, is in the hips. And I don't normally believe in that, but I have seen such a difference in some women when we've done it. So yeah, if this is hard for you, you need to do it more. You can increase the intensity, if you're anything like me, by just resting your elbow to try and help ease that knee down. And if you were already flat, ignore my cheating position, you would try and get yourself to here with those elbows down, or you would reach all the way out nice and flat. Beautiful, guys. Not jealous at all. And then we're going to switch sides. It's just not funny. I wouldn't mind when I'm saying you need to do it more often, guys, if you struggle with it. I do this like all the friggin' time. How stressed am I as a human being? Ooh, it's making them shake. And relax them. You're just going to take the knees soft. We are done in 2 seconds, guys. Knees are soft. Try and flatten the back and just lean forwards now. If you're okay, you're trying to sink those elbows down. Still okay, you're just going to let those feet slide away. Sticking that bum out behind you. Come up. Fantastic, guys, well done. You did so good. I hope you're not too cross at me. Middle splits is such a bitch. I love it, but it is so horrible. And because of all me saying about all the emotion that's in that area, it isn't unsurprising to go through a middle split class and to feel really elated, and then to feel really stressed, and then to feel really happy, and then really sad, and then really angry, probably mostly angry, when I'm like, breathe, stay in the position, breathe some more, relax. So I'm sorry, but you did really well. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. I will see some of you on Sunday for part 2 of our like intro to floor work stuff. If you didn't do part 1 but you wanted to do it, you're more than welcome to. We just went through some basics. Yeah, and I'll try and get that foam roller thing done tomorrow in all my free time to actually send to you, because it's been, yeah, like a month. Oh, quick. Yeah, so have a great rest of your day, guys. If any of you managed to get a picture, by the way, tag me in it, because I loved seeing progress pictures, and let me know how it felt, if it felt good or if it felt really crappy. Thanks. Bye, guys. Oh, are you trying to, wait, what are you saying, Deborah? Wait, 1 sec. You're muted. Unmute yourself, Deborah. It won't let me unmute you because you've muted. Oh. Why can't I hear you? Can anybody else hear Deborah? Is it just me? It says you're unmuted. Send me a message. I don't know why it's not working. Send me a message. Bye, guys.